What about leadership and integrity, truth?
So that was the third in terms of what I understood when you said culture. Leadership is key to culture.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. We're on the same track. There's been a long process, revisited over multiple years now, of estimate sessions, questions on notice and freedom of information requests on a particular issue. You've been in this room while I questioned your predecessor, Angus Campbell, over his Distinguished Service Cross, which I'm sure you'll recall. Admiral Johnston, you were the officer that recommended Angus Campbell for that Distinguished Service Cross, weren't you?
I was on the nomination for it, yes, that's right.
Thank you. According to Defence Freedom of Information Request 522-2223, you recommended him for that award on the 29th of September 2011. At that time, the criteria for the Distinguished Service Cross required the recipient to be in action. Admiral Johnston, can you once and for all, as the person who recommended Angus Campbell for his DSC, clarify what contact with the enemy you saw General Campbell in action that led to you recommending him for a combat medal?
So, Senator, if I could answer, so the nomination was provided to me in my role as the Deputy Chief of Joint Operations at the time. That position has, as one of its responsibilities, to look at the performance of commanders in our deployed forces, of which General Campbell was one at the time. So I progressed the nomination because of the function that I had in Joint Operations Command. I did, as part of that, indicate that the submission of the nomination should be after the period when General Campbell completed his tenure, which was the case. The definition of inaction that I applied is consistent with that which had been standing for some time. So commanders, and certainly in General Campbell's case, I believe he spent more than 100 days in Afghanistan as part of his command role in an area that was classified as a warlike zone.
A warlike zone?
Yes.
Was he in a war zone?
Yes.
Actually facing fire?
But he was, as part of his duties, rotating through the places where Australian soldiers and others were located, experiencing the same threats as they had in those locations.
So what is your definition of inaction?
The definition I applied is the same as had been applied by my predecessors and over, I think, 8 commanders prior to General Campbell, who had been nominated for a Distinguished Service Cross, was an individual who is operating in an area where it is a warlike zone and there are threats from hostile forces.
Did that definition come into place the day after his nomination? Because I think beforehand it was direct action.
The definition changed before his nomination, but the application of what we understood that to be is consistent before General Campbell's nomination.
Okay. Thank you.